So The Athletic wrote a column. Were you part of this column, Zach?
The win totals?
Yeah.
I chimed in on what
Right.
I thought, yes.
And so it was an average of different predictors.
Yeah, and then we have a guy named Austin Mock who does his own model.
Okay.
Puts it
So
against there,
and the Browns ended up at 5.3 wins.
Yeah, that's Austin. That was Austin's number.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So, and that's about, I think in Vegas they're what, 5.5?
Yeah. You got to pay juice on the under, though.
There you go. These are the AFC teams. The Browns are second from the bottom at 4.5, or the Dolphins are in the bottom 4.5. The Ravens number one. I would not have the Ravens number one at 10.9. Bills 10.7. Patriots and Bengals 10.3. You see the list there. So the AFC North, you got the Ravens at 10.9, the Bengals at 10.3, the Steelers at 8.4, and the Browns at 5.3. With a 10.7% chance to win, make the playoffs, and a 0.1% chance, not less than 0.1, like the Dolphins, but a 0.1% chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
That's right. If they play that means if they play the season 1,000 times, the Browns will win the Super Bowl one of those 1,000 times.
Okay. Now they've lost me.
Yeah, that's crazy. But 5.3 wins and a 10.7% playoff chance. Are you going over or under on those things, G. Bush?
Can I tell you after practice today?
You can tell us again, but as of at this moment.
I look at it like this. I've always put I always put my win totals, I put it at 7. And I put it at 7 for a couple of reasons. One is I think they could have won some games last year. And two, I think there's always a few games that if you get a right bounce, that if you put yourself in a position to play decent special teams, there's always a couple games that it can go a couple ways. Now, you can win those games or you can lose those games on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Sure.
So, but I think the reason I would say over is because I do think that the skill positions can raise the play, and I do think that the quarterback position will get better when they settle down on who it's going to be and put a game plan around them. The thing that is in the back of my mind where I'm apprehensive about it is because I know how thin they are. I did something I was on with Earl and Tyvis, and I said, give us one person that is the doomsday scenario if they got hurt. And the scary part about it is we all came back with 3 different answers. So
what were the answers?
Denzel Ward, it's catastrophic. If Denzel Ward is not playing, they're corner depth. Now, I like Mr. Coates. I like what he's doing, but Denzel Ward goes down, chalk it up.
Jamar Chase is not worried about Coates.
Absolutely not.
Denzel Ward is his toughest competition.
He's going to run wild.
Yeah.
The second guy, Carson Schlesinger. I think they only got 2 linebackers. I think they got 2 linebackers and a bunch of special teams dudes. Carson Schlesinger goes down. That means and by the way, he's one of your better pass defenders too. Like, he plays great in coverage. He goes down, you're in trouble. And then the third one is if Jarrett Verse gets hurt. Yeah, I'm sorry.
And you didn't even get to the one that I might say, Quinshon Judkins.
There it is. So you think about it.
Those are all 4 good choices.
And so now you're looking around being like, okay, and we know from the NFL, one of those people or somebody significant always gets hurt.
That's right. That's how it goes.
The fact that we agree that there are 4 doomsday scenario guys, and we didn't even consider either of the quarterbacks is why I'm picking them to be under 5. I like the talent. Despite what I said yesterday, and if everybody got angry at me, I've said consistently that I think, besides quarterback, there's a lot of promise on this team in the next couple of years, and if they find the right quarterback, the team could start turning it around pretty quickly. It might not happen in 1 year, you may be right, but I don't think it's going to take 3 or 4 years because I think there's some good talent. But I just think the quarterback play, there's nothing that either quarterback has done this preseason that makes me think the quarterback play is going to take a big jump. If you told me it would, then yeah, I'd definitely go over 5. But if the quarterback play is amongst the worst in the league as it was last year, and I think it's going to be this year, I think they're on. Yeah, could they win 6 or 7? Yeah, maybe. It's possible. But I think 5 is the most likely scenario, so I'm going with that.
I've watched every single throw of every single training camp practice, and I'm here to tell you that the quarterback play has been dreadful. Okay, so now over the last 16 months, I think this team, the folks in charge, have done a nice job of cleaning up their own mess.
Yes.
I don't think at all this is 2016 because there is a number and potentially a big number of good young players who should have upside, who should fit what they want to do, who should show this year that they have enough talent to be considered good. Some, in some cases, great players. Fan and Swessinger, potentially Judkins come to mind. But I don't think they're going to win 5 games because I just don't think the offense is going to be there. And to Garrett's point, I don't think the depth is going to be there. Now, when is that going to show up? Is it going to show up right away? If it does, that's how you end up winning 1 or 2. The rookie receivers are different. In general, I like the direction and some of the decisions that they've made. But I will be stunned if this team even gets to 5 or 6 wins.
Even 5. So you got them with what, 3 or 4?
Yes.
I think also, while the defense will still be good, I think it's going to, it has to take, I would think, I shouldn't say has to, but I think it will probably take at least a half step back. When you change your DC and lose your best player, kudos to them. If they're as good as they were last year, major credit. I certainly don't think they're a bad defense. I think they're a good defense. But I don't think it'll be quite as good this year as they were in the past couple of years.
I think, to me, man, I look at the quarterback play, and I've said, like, okay, I can see a world where the quarterback play, if they can get average quarterback play, if you can continue to develop and continue to get people to grow. I think the thing that is slowing you down a little bit with that is, I think some of the disjointed nature of what you see with the quarterbacks is because they have not put all their resources into preparing one quarterback yet. I think, either whether it's Shedeur Sanders or Deshaun Watson, after you decide whatever one you want to put in a position to play as a starter, I think you can then get that person better by devoting all like one of the knocks on a quarterback battle. And you trust me, they should have had one, and I'm all for it. But think about all of the other teams. All the other teams who have identified a guy who they think is going to be it, like Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart wakes up every day and he knows exactly what it is. I'm getting the reps. Ain't nobody behind me. Now we can put in things that I like and I want to do. Even with guys like Tyler Shook, even with Cam Ward, even guys who already are established as who it is, those guys are going to have an advantage because everything that the organization is doing is to put that person in a position to play well. Day 1, week 1, let's get it done. When you're in a quarterback competition, you're still trying to figure out who you like, what they do well. Let's have this. So I do think that there's a part of the world, a universe, where once a guy gets in and gets settled, they can start building game plans about what he does and what it is and continue to grow. So my hope is that Shedeur continues to get better. He continues to work on some of those things, and then we can see and put some things around his playmaking ability, because I do think that he's shown the ability to push the ball downfield in some it factor in big plays. So that married with some extra stuff, I think can get you up to a point. But I will say this, for me, the scary part is they're gonna have injuries. Like their secondary and these dudes and the linebackers and then the Mason Graham and Mike Hall Jr. Mike Hall Jr. has never been ready to go. So Zach, we counting on some things that we haven't even seen yet, and that's kind of hard to do.
I absolutely agree with a lot of what you say about potential growth and how this offense could find a gear later, with comfort level, with confidence, with the young guys growing up. And if you play the season 1,000 times, as we talked about, they certainly can win 5, 6, 7 games. I just think more times than not that by the time that they can find that offensive groove, that the roster is depleted, that they're so limited offensively, and 6 of the first 9 on the road with a new offensive line, a rookie head coach, and probably really bad quarterback play. They're gonna dig themselves a hole in most scenarios.
That is a tough ask. Say for instance, if you projected in Deshaun Watson as a guy, I mean,
0-2.
Like you in Jacksonville, you at Tampa, and then you still got games where you're like, okay, well, he ain't played in 2 years, and I want people to be ready for this. Like, look, I get that it was a nice drive against the Bears, twos and threes or whatever, but let me tell you something. It's a difference between doing that and then being like, okay, you the guy go on the road in the first 2 weeks with a by the way, Baker Mayfield will be motivated. Like,
you think?
like, listen, so this is the game where Baker's like, oh, this is the guy you got me up out of here for?
Yeah.
Let me show you the levels to this. He at home, So, and you know he gonna be talking spicy. So that's a whole nother Jay gonna be fired. Oh boy. Oh boy.
He's gonna be in his feelings.
He's
for
gonna
that
be
one.
in his super bag,
Yeah.
Jay Crawford. So yeah, it's a tough schedule.
By the way, I was listening to NFL radio on Sirius on the drive-in, and Brian Hoyer was on with, I can't remember I think it was Bill Leckus, maybe one of the guys who hosts.
I like Brian.
He's good.
He's good. I like.
And they happened to be talking about the Browns quarterback situation as I tuned in, and nothing earth-shattering, but they were saying a lot of the things we're saying here. But then they were talking about where they started talking about the Falcons quarterback situation, which is also a pretty ugly situation.
Right.
And they were talking about options for next year. Okay, could the Browns draft a quarterback? Could the Falcons draft a quarterback? There's also free agents, and Bill Leckus was like, "Yeah, Baker Mayfield might be a free agent." And I'm thinking, not only is the Browns not an option for Baker, neither is the Falcons, obviously.
Yeah, those two are out.
Yeah,
like that's not happening.
Yeah,
like, so yeah, like that.
To the point there, to go
Yeah.
all the way back to the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
The Browns are probably going to need a quarterback.
Yes.
And a lot of what they're doing this year is to prove to themselves that they're pretty good at almost everywhere but quarterback.
Yes.
However, it doesn't necessarily have to be a top 3, top 5 pick. There will be other options.
Right.
And guys do come from other places.
That's right.
And like a Trinidad Chambliss, we brought him up. Like, he's not going to be a top 5 pick because he's this big. Now, you would hope they won't go there in Cleveland anymore.
Yeah.
We'll see, but it doesn't have to be that.
The thing that I keep coming back to, and I just keep telling myself, all right, it's Deshaun Watson and it's Shedeur Sanders. In my opinion, there is no glaring, oh my gosh, Deshaun is cooking Shedeur. Oh my, this guy's going to give us a chance to win 10 games.
No.
My thing is, dude, if you know you're not going to win that many games,
yes,
why would you not just
we've all
let him give him the opportunity, show what it is. And guess what? Here's the thing. Even if you do play in half the season, it don't look good, you could always bring Deshaun Watson into the game and dust him off for some plays. You'd be like, yo.
Because he's trying out for his next team anyway.
Like it just don't. And if you looking at, all right, well, we trying to find a quarterback. It just, I don't know with the 6-game start with the Watson
We all feel
thing.
that way. Even known Shedeur hater Jason Lloyd
Facts.
thinks that Shedeur should play. But I'll tell you, I've heard a number of players, including former players, including Ryan Leaf, who I spoke to a couple of weeks ago, said, it's easier to start Shedeur and go in. I mean, easier to start with the veteran and bring in the rookie than go the opposite
So
way.
when you know the end,
I know.
This is my point on the whole deal.
Sense.
I don't know if Quinshon Judkins can rush for 1,400 yards. I don't know if Carson Schwarzenegger can become the best linebacker in the league. I don't know how the division is going to go. I don't know how the new special teams are going to go. I don't know anything about how the offensive line is going to play. But I know that Deshaun Watson can't play anymore. I know he can't. It's been proved. He couldn't play 3 years ago, and he can't play now. And so for this team that's intentionally and because of his circumstances trying to be the youngest team and pointing forward, to even put him back on the field is such a waste of time. And why does everyone know that except the folks in charge?
It's crazy. There's no good answer.
Listen, I'm taking my time to just because they keep telling me this, and I'm going into it trying to find something else. I'm trying to be like, okay, they keep telling me, let me go and look. Let me look. Like it's like telling somebody, like, listen, like you playing the game hot and cold, right? And they keep telling you cold.
You
and
can't get hot.
freezing. And you're like, well, hold on, let me go back over and look, because this seems to be the area where I think this is. But we will see.
And I just don't buy that it's the money. I don't buy that.
It's not. That money's long gone.
Yeah,
it's
it
long
doesn't make any sense.
I did the math on it, by the way. $240 million to what the Haslam's have is the equivalent, if you do with inflation and regular people money, the equivalent of what they paid him is $5,000 to a person who makes $6 figures a year. Is $5,000 hurting you?
No.
If you make $6 figures a year,
you don't want to just throw it away.
You're not throwing it away, but it's not. You're not.
But when you've already lit it on fire, you shouldn't try to save the last
You see what I'm
scrap.
saying? Like I'm like I can't believe that 5,000 is what was making you wild out.
Bring up that list real quick again, Anthony. Let's talk briefly about the other 3 teams in the AFC North. This again from The Athletic. The win total, based on a computer, he probably runs like 1 million simulations or whatever it is.
That's what it is.
So they got the Ravens number 1 at 10.9. The Bengals number 4 at 10.3. The Steelers number 10 at 8.4. What do we think of those other?
You know, you get into where it's so blurred, right?
Yeah.
Like if you just look at the initial lines, the Bengals are favored in 15 games. Now, even if they have a great year, nobody thinks they're going 15-2.
No.
You know, so you get into that. How's it going to go? When do you play people? Like, yeah, the Ravens every year should be an 11-win team, and they fired the coach because they didn't have a winning record last year.
Right. Yeah.
But if they're healthy on defense and Lamar's healthy and Derrick Henry still has something left in the tank, yeah, they probably should win more games than anyone else in the AFC.
It's you know, for the NFL, my uncle used to always say, man, if you want to lose your house, just bet on NFL games.
Yeah.
Like this stuff right here, like there's teams, it's too like there's games you see every single Sunday that'd be like, oh wow, did you see the Chargers? Chargers got beat by the Colts kind of bad, bro. You like, but then the Colts just lost to the Jets. How did the Colts lose to the Jets? Like, so like it's and I look at these like the Jaguars at 9.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know what the Jaguars
could win 11. They could win
With
6.
six,
You know,
Or
I
they
can say
can-
that about the.
And a lot of that probably has to do with are the Titans any better?
Right.
You know?
Like or
Like,
projecting.
I don't know. I even as a Bengals fan, like I could see them winning 11 games, but I could see them winning 6 or 7, especially if Burrow gets hurt again. You know, like I can't rely on him staying healthy. I've been trying to go to a Bengals game in Cincinnati for a couple of years, but I'm not going if Burrow gets hurt. So first year I had bought tickets, we sold them. Last year I waited till the week before the game, but he got hurt. I'm doing the same thing this year.
Like the Patriots. All right, the Patriots.
I could see them going backwards this year.
Patriots
definitely.
had a lot of crazy stuff going around the team. They got rid of Stephon Diggs, and you know they got a young quarterback, and you know he seems to be on the rise. But I can see where they fall back to earth. They went to the Super Bowl and have that little slump. I can see them taking a step back. I can see teams like the Chargers. I have no clue. What the Chargers are going to be.
Put that up one more time, Anthony, before we wrap up. How many teams on this list, guys, do you think could end up, like, would you at least give a puncher's chance to be the number 1 seed? I'm going to say
4, 5.
I could go to 9.
I got at least 8.
I got 8. Who's your
At
9th?
least 8.
You
I
going?
mean, the top 9 you could make a case for.
I guess.
Because the Chiefs and Chargers have outstanding quarterback play. If they have the right health around them, why couldn't
the only
they?
one I wasn't buying is the Broncos just because of the division, but
I cut it
I
off
guess
at
they
8.
could be.
I
I'm
cut
not
it-
buying the Texans.
I got
I like the Ravens through Jaguars could finish in any order.
facts. And then like let me just be clear. I mean, the Steelers are sitting there at 10, but I haven't seen a world in the last 10 years where the Steelers just was trash.
Yes, but Mike Tomlin's gone. I think this is the year, and I've said it 2 other times, to be honest.
I've been hoping.
But I think this is the year they're under 500.
I've been hoping
I
for
think
years.
they finally.
And
Do you
it-
think?
Well,
they're
the last time they had a losing season, they ended up with Ben Roethlisberger, so nobody in Cleveland's rooting for that.
Yeah, I want them to have a losing season and then blow it in the quarterback draft.
Hey, what if they get Arch Manning or something, bro? Would wouldn't that be like I would throw up?
Well, they'd have to be 1, 2, or 3 at worst for that.
Let Aaron Rodgers get hurt.